I have coffee with the former pastor of a third church who's leaving that church to start his retirement. I'm sitting with him telling him that we're thinking about selling the building. And he said, have you ever thought about buying the daycare up the street that we have? I said, well, in fact, I said, is it for sale? He said, no, but they might entertain the right offer. I said, okay, who do I meet? This man named such and such. And he was a church builder known all around the Midwest, but he was the one who built this old building that we're in today and all of the campuses where they were at. He was high up on their boards in the denomination. He personally came here to show me this building because it was like his baby. It was his very first church building in 1972. And talking to him, I said, look, we would like to buy this. It was all daycare.
Yeah.
Bulletin boards everywhere, walls built everywhere. The sanctuary, you couldn't even tell it was a sanctuary. Things were painted red, blue, yellow, pink. It was a mess. But he said, he gave me a piece of paper. He said, we would consider this as an offer. And it was $1.5 million. I said, let me ask you something. Would you consider $900,000? He looked at me for a minute. I thought he was going to say, absolutely not. That's what my mind said. But he said, you know what? We would consider that. I knew coming from him, it was probably going to be a possibility. They met as a board, I guess, and then they wrote me the next day, said, we'll accept that offer. I said, hey, we're going to need over a year to make this deal happen because we got to see if this other church can get our building. We hadn't even met with them yet. And they really didn't, the church we were dealing with at the time, and the gentleman I was talking about, they didn't think this was really going to ever happen. They thought, well, this is too many pieces and parts because they needed a year to get out of here to rebuild their present location to put their daycare in, right? So it was a three-way church thing, Holiness Church, a Nazarene church, and a Pentecostal, a charismatic church. For over a year, we all worked and preferred one another. We bought this building for $875,000. In the end, they ended up taking another $25,000 off. The church that bought our other building asked to borrow money. They bought it for such amount, and then they wanted such amount in paper, which paid our debt off, but also for 3 years, they paid us a payment that continued to help us. We eliminated all that debt we had. We stayed in that building for 6 or 8 months, and they wouldn't charge us rent. They paid the utilities. They blessed us. And that is 2 miracles in our church's history where God eliminated debt, made a way where there seemed to be no way, blessed us beyond measure, and made Victorious Living Church and Victorious Living International possible. I'm thankful for those kind of miracles. Not all of them are just healing miracles. Sometimes it's God shifting people and bringing things in line. And all through my life, and praise God, all through the ministry of Victorious Living Church, God has continually worked miracles for us, time and time again.